Election after election, we learn one lesson, that these days in politics, what works is number one, strong leaders, number two, even better, strong regional leaders. Mr. Modi became Prime Minister because he was a very strong regional leader in his state, won 3 mandates. We've just seen, as we speak today, the impact of a strong regional leader for the Congress party in Punjab. So our guests off the cuff this week, at a time when I find after 3 years, in fact more than 3 years, it's been a long time since we've seen, I say it metaphorically, smiles on the faces of Congress leaders. It's the first time in I think 4.5, 5 years. So good time for us to have Sachin Pilot, Jyotiraditya Scindia, two young and strong regional leaders, each one given charge of a very important state. I think that between the 2 states that where you're leading your party's campaigns, the the Congress party got only 2 seats in the last general election. They got all in Rajasthan, and I think only Kamal Nath and you were able to pull 2 back in your state. With me is Ruhi Tiwari, who is one of our editors, my colleague. The Congress party. How do you describe the state of the Congress party now? Still in slumber, awake, coming out of slumber? And if so, why?
Well, I think, Shekhar, 2 things. One is that everybody was always in such a great hurry to write off the Congress party just after the 2014 elections. Now, everybody knows that we lost, and we lost badly. Now, having said that, a party that has its presence in every nook and corner of this country is the Congress party. We've won lots of elections, we've lost a few elections. But to my mind, a party that's for 130 years held itself together and held on to its political mandate is bound to rebound. There is no question in my mind that the Congress party is going to go from strength to strength from here on. We've had our setbacks, we've had some introspections, we've had some changes, and more are certainly about to come. But to have a Congress Mukt India, or to talk about the demise of a political party so brazenly and in a condescending fashion, I think is not what our democracy is all about. So we have different ideologies, different backgrounds, but ultimately we all want the best for this country. And to say that the Congress party has absolutely no contribution in making India what it is today, I think is very short-sighted. So I am very confident that in the time to come, and we will start this by winning states, like you mentioned, Punjab is one example. But for Congress party to have a major revival nationally, we'll have to win these states, large and small, and I think that's already in the pipeline.
If I can just add on to what Sachin has said, I think time waits for no one, right? And as time passes, people change, countries change, aspirations change. I firmly believe it's very important, just like in the corporate world, business models change. Parties have to change the way they function. If you don't, then you will become extinct. So yes, I think obviously we didn't do many things right in 2014. Having said that, we were 10 years in government, where we gave tremendous amount of growth, came out with tremendous number of schemes which benefited people across the country. Maybe our marketing was wrong, maybe our branding was not right, maybe there are a lot of things that went wrong. But I think that in every organization, you require a period of hiatus wherein you come up with a brand new strategy to go ahead. And to answer your question, I think we are in that process of metamorphosis as we speak now. I don't believe that the metamorphosis has to be cliched into the old versus the new, the younger generation versus the older generation. You and I have talked about this many a time. There you will find many older generation people who have tremendous energy and vigor, and you will find many younger generation people who don't have the drive. You've got to take the best of the stock that you have, place the right people in the right place, get a strategy together, and get moving. And I think the time for that is now. If we wait longer than this, we are going to be in trouble. But I think the country is today aware of the gaps between many a slip between the cup and the lip, what they promised in terms of a utopian environment, what has actually occurred in India. And I think people today in India are looking for a refreshing change. And I think that change will come from the Congress party because, again, as you and I have spoken many times, the bench strength of the Congress party across the country is tremendous. Grassroots leaders, intellectuals, technocrats, across the board. But we've got to bring it together. And if we bring it together, I am firmly of the belief that the people will believe in us and trust us again.
Well, we have 2 MBAs from top American universities. So you expect to hear things like business models. Will you say that the business model of Indian politics has changed?
Well, first of all, politics can't be categorized as a business. Number one.
Profession,
right?
I see business in a general sense.
That's a fundamental tenet, Shekhar, from where I come from in terms of belief. If you ask me, my calling today is not politics. I probably hate it as much as you do or people in the audience do.
Right? I love it. I don't have to do it.
Okay. But that's from the outside.
Yes.
Right? That's always the case. But my calling is really in terms of development. For me, development has to be the goal, and there could be many means towards that goal. Politics could be one. Social service could be another. Business could be a third. So for me, my goal is development. That was what inspired my father, and that's what inspires me. So for me, politics is only a means to an end and not an end itself.
Well, this is a question both of you can answer. Both your states are going to polls next year. Very, very crucial elections, of course, as Shekhar mentioned. Is the enemy that the Congress is fighting really within more than outside, considering the kind of factionalism that is perceived to be there in the Congress? In Rajasthan, Sachin, for instance, is it not time to declare a CM face, whether it's you or whether it's Mr. Gehlot? Similarly, in Madhya Pradesh, whether it's you or Mr. Kamal Nath or whoever. Why is there so much factionalism, and why is the High Command not going ahead with a CM face as yet?
So there are 2 things, Rui. First, the Congress party generally, as a matter of convention, has not gone out fighting elections saying X, Y, and Z should be the CM candidate or the face of the campaign. We've done it in a few places.
Right.
Exceptions always there. But the BJP, for example, has declared that in Madhya Pradesh, Shivraj Singh Chauhan ji will be the CM candidate. Raman Singh ji will be in Chhattisgarh, where they are in government. So they are in opposition in Karnataka, where they've said Mr. Yediyurappa will be our face. But they haven't said whether Vasundhara ji will be the CM face in Rajasthan. So they're trying to, hedge their bets. As far as the Congress is concerned, look, I've been party president of Rajasthan Congress for almost 4 years now.
Right.
And in the 4 years, I think the party has come up to a point where it is now pretty clear that we are a much more viable, better alternative to the current government. We've gotten this far, not because of me as an individual, but because we've struggled and fought for the rights and cause of the people together. No one person, no 5 people, no 20 people can make a difference. It has to be a collaborative effort. And I can tell you that there have been many presidents before me, but I've been one of the few presidents of the party in the state that has got real support and engagement from all across the leadership, whether they're young or old. And it is because that we work together that in Rajasthan you see that 10, 12 months down the line, people are looking at the Congress party, which has 0 MPs in parliament and has only 24 MLAs out of 200. And yet people believe, you ask a common person, they'll say, well, Congress is coming back. It's because we've been able to work together. And frankly speaking, the same is true with Aditya. I became member of parliament at 26 years of age.
Right.
I've spent 10 years in parliament. I've been a minister in the government of India. I became minister at 32 or 33. I became party president at 36. And if I still want more from the party, then I think it's wrong. It's time for me to give back to the party. Now, if I can revive the party and make the Congress win, that's enough for me. Who gets what rewards at the end of the struggle, it depends on the party, depends on circumstances. It's not that important. But first, we must all come together and make sure that we can deliver a win.
You're going to
So
give a less politically correct answer?
Yeah, 2 points very quickly. First of all, I think both, let me say, mainstream political parties, the BJP and the Congress, both have done both things. In many states, the Congress has declared a CM face. In many states, it hasn't.
Right.
In many states, the BJP has declared a CM face. In many states, it hasn't. Like, for example, the UP election, they didn't declare a CM face, right?
Right.
So it really depends on a state-to-state basis.
You think it was smart of them not to declare a CM face? No, it was smart of them not to
Yes.
tell people who the CM will be.
In UP, yes. Because they had, to be very honest, they didn't have a face that could command across, across all
if
of
they had
UP.
declared Yogi Adityanath as a CM face, would that have been
Well, there's no point going back.
Better for them or worse?
Shekhar,
Yeah.
if they declared
There's no-
Mr. Khattar as CM candidate in
You would have never won.
would they have got a majority?
In Haryana,
Yeah.
unlikely.
So it
Same
varies
possibility.
from state to state.
In Punjab, we saw it worked hugely to the Congress's advantage to have captain as the CM face. Do you think it's going to work for the Congress in Rajasthan to have a CM face? Do you think it's going to work for the Congress in Madhya Pradesh to have a CM face?
You want a quick answer?
Yes.
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 Sachin.
In Rajasthan, I'm the party president. I think for me to make a decision whether we should or we shouldn't, A is not correct. Like I said, we've had successes in the last 4 years. I'll just give you one data point. In 2014, when we had the Lok Sabha elections, the BJP polled 56% votes. The Congress party got 30%. So the gap between BJP and Congress in 2014 was 26%, the gap. A year later, we had Panchayat elections. In the Panchayat elections, the BJP polled 46% and we polled 45%. So the gap from 26% became 1%. And I think by doing all these things and working together, we've been able to build a coalition of leadership, young, old, different, age groups, and we're marching forward right now. In Rajasthan, I don't know, or I don't think if it's the right thing for us to do to have just one face. We should have 10. And why only take 2 names, Ruhi? I think if I am, as the Congress president, being able to deliver the state to my party, there are 5, 7, 15 people who can become chief ministers and ministers, etc.
Well, you've been talking about how politics has changed. We know that you're dealing with this election machinery headed by Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah. They are 24/7 politicians. Do you think there's a problem, or can I rephrase it? Do you think you should be concerned about Mr. Rahul Gandhi's approach to politics not being as visibly 24/7 as that of Mr. Modi and Mr. Amit Shah?
The BJP, like you said, from what I know of the Bharatiya Janata Party, it has become a election fighting machine. I don't understand the principles, the convictions, the beliefs. Now, there are 40 parties in India, for example. In fact, there are 5 different communist parties and they have their own ideologies. But the BJP 20 years ago, 10 years ago had a certain agenda for this country. But I think slowly they've started compromising with almost everything to make sure that they've been in power. In Kashmir, for example, they've joined hands with a party which they would have opposed on principle.
Right.
Issues that were core to the BJP, I think have been sidelined, sidetracked, whether it's the temple, whether it's 370, whether it's Uniform Civil Code, for the sake of getting power. And now today, all they're focusing is not on delivery in the last 3.5 years, their promises in the poll manifesto, or their promises to the people in public speeches. Today, they're all focusing on booth management, machinery, data collection, using technology, which is fine. But are you a party that is gearing up only to fight and win elections? Or do you believe in the conviction of some beliefs that you stand for? In that regard, I think the BJP is far removed from what it was when it was founded. As far as the Congress party is concerned, it's not as cadre-driven as perhaps some other parties are. But the Congress party, I think, understands the fragrance of this nation much better. And I'm not saying that everybody in the Congress party is perfect, but as far as I can see, the value system, the beliefs, the conviction levels of what India is, what we stand for, our ethos, our history, our culture, our capacity to take people along, that resides in the Congress party. And when we win and lose elections, we must introspect and change, like Aditya was saying, according to the times. Can you compare the poll fighting machinery, the resource management, the deployment of muscle and money power that the BJP does versus the Congress? Perhaps not.
Since you talked about being perfect or not being perfect in politics, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, which one of the two is more perfect?
Well, I think in many ways they both are. They have a tremendous capability. They have different ways of functioning.
I said which one is more perfect?
I think you can't compare two people and say which one is more perfect. I think everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and I think that's what humanity is all about. And I think you've got to take that person for their beliefs, their capabilities.
You've dealt with both of them as their active leaders.
Yes.
They both are still your leaders, but as active leaders. Tell us some differences between the two, each one of you.
I think Mrs. Gandhi is very consensual in her approach. She takes everyone along whilst forming her opinion. She is very, very deeply founded in her beliefs and value system and the Indian ethos. She is very emotional about those issues. I think Rahul Gandhi is equally very, very grounded in the Indian ethos, but I think he is able to analyze through a situation very quickly, and he speaks his mind, and he knows his mind very quickly, and that comes across in our dealings with him as well.
Sachin?
You know, I think no two people are same. Different gender, different generation. It's actually not fair to compare two people. Mrs. Gandhi, I think, has really been able to think old school and yet act as to what's required. I mean, she comes from a different generation, so her way of functioning was a bit different. Rahul Gandhi, I think, is far more scientific and, emotionally driven about what's right, what's wrong, and he calls it what it is. And Mrs. Gandhi, I think, because of the time that she became president 20 years ago, it was a different country.
So, when did either of you disagree with Rahul Gandhi last?
I won't disclose about what, but many times. I've had that discussion. We may agree not to agree on something, but we decide what's the best interest, we do it. There's a consensus, there's a majority, but to say that I don't agree with what is going on, enough times. I don't know, but I'm sure so is he.
Even in terms of policies, many discussions, and we agree to disagree, and that's the beauty of the Congress party, that you have a collective there. You have the ability to be able to engage, the ability to be able to voice your opinion, maybe conflicting with others, not like a straight line where you have X and Y, and that's about it. And there's no argument, there is no discussion, and that's just the way it is. And I think India is not about that. India is about argumentative Indian. It's about debate. It's about developing a path going forward. And just going back to your earlier question, Shekhar, I think the clear difference between the BJP and the Congress is that you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all of the time. And that will come to roost, I believe, for the BJP in 2019.
Do you think it's possible for the Congress party to exist without the Gandhi family? Is that the only fulcrum that holds the Congress party together?
Ask you, I'm very actually surprised that you're asking me this question. Because for 10 years, recently, you had a Prime Minister who was not a Gandhi.
But you also
One
had
second. Narasimha Rao era, it was not a Gandhi. Sitaram Kesri, it was not a Gandhi.
But we saw what happened then.
We heard about it.
We saw what happened then.
You experienced it as well. You've had two Prime Ministers.
I think, Shekhar, the point
Right?
Aditya is
So
making
there, number one. Number two, don't forget that the Congress party also goes through an electoral process. It's something that we're going through right now. And therefore, again, going back to the point, you have crores and crores of workers across this country that decide the fate of where the Congress party is going to go. And it is through that election that a leader is elected.
I think still there is a question. There is a good question that Ruhi asked. That is a party, an ideology, which, as you say, has crores and crores of workers. Is it totally dependent or coterminous with one family? Because even when Narasimha Rao was there, barring a period when Mrs. Gandhi was completely out of politics, or when Dr. Manmohan Singh was there, the family's Chhatra Chhaya was there.
Always been there.
Shekhar, let me ask you a counter
But
question.
is this an ideology that can survive?
You and Ruhi are saying the same
And
thing.
BJP can
in different
survive
words.
without
That's
Narendra
not
Modi.
true. Listen to me. They have a power center in Nagpur. They decide what's going to happen in New Delhi. Let me tell you, the Congress party, we are political activists. Now, if the Congress party worker, not just me and him here, but across the country, from village to block to district, collectively in their wisdom, feel that here is a person who can keep us all together and has the best chance of keeping a united face, that collective wisdom should be left in the domain of the people who are electing. Now, you can have a view, well, why this, why not this, you can ask 10 questions, but that freedom of decision making should be left, and nobody in the Congress party is so naive that they don't know what the choices are, or they don't know what suits them best. You see, being a part of a family that has somebody in politics cannot be a disqualification in democracy.
So what's the question?
The question only is the issues. You know,
So-
we should talk about not the Congress, not the BJP, not the XYZ. We should talk about the country. We should talk about the issues the country has. We should not talk about why Congress is winning or losing, why BJP is winning or losing. So the thing is, the issues should be addressed.
Right.
So what are the issues today, right? What do we as normal Indians look forward to from our government, right? You want an environment of peace and security. You want to be able to say what you feel like, dress the way you want, eat where you feel like, eat what you feel like, right? You want to be able to feel that, yes, my country is progressing, there is economic growth. One is a soul aspect, and that soul aspect जो भारत की आत्मा की बात है, धर्मनिरपेक्षता, उदार विचारधारा, free thinking, libertarian values. The second is the hardcore infrastructure part. Am I progressing economically? Are people getting jobs? Am I in a better environment than my parents were when I was growing up? Am I being able to provide a better environment for my kids, right? That's what should concern us as Indians. And let me ask you the question. 4 years into this government, what is your answer? Because it doesn't matter what Sachin thinks. It doesn't matter what I think. It matters what every single Indian in this country feels. Do you feel safer? Do you feel that you can voice your opinion? Do you feel you can do what you like as a democratic Indian today? Yes or no? Do you feel that economically you're on a growth path? Do you feel that the environment is much more growth propelling across various sectors? Do you feel that your children will get much better jobs? Do you feel that the level of health has increased in this country? Do you feel the level of education has increased in this country? Do you feel the environment is better in this country? These are the key questions that I think we as citizens, forget the fact that I wear a Congress cap, okay? Just as a citizen of this country, these are the questions that matter, I believe matter to us. And those are the answers that we need to be looking for. Is this a government that listens to us? We may agree to disagree, but am I being able to voice my opinion? That is what we value the most in our democracy. Is the press free today? Are channels alive, or are they being shut down? Is media being coerced? That is our fourth pillar of democracy. People used to curse the Congress in 2013-14. No one stopped anyone. Is that possible today? Can you go and say what the hell you like? Yes or no? I think these are questions that we need to answer to ourselves. And if we are truthful to ourselves, then we need to vote or make a choice according to that. And it may differ from state to state. It may differ from locality to locality. But I think these are the core questions that are important to me as a citizen of India, forget as a member of the Congress party.